Hi, Shelley here from Spin Cushions, and this time I'm going to show you how to make this square, which is called Solomon, from my Siren's Atlas collection. All the info is on my blog, spincushions.com. So it's a pretty cute, easy one to do. I really like making this one, so let's get started. Alright, our first round, start with a magic circle, or you chain 4 joined into a loop. Okay, that was a bit awkward. Anyway, magic circle started for me. Now you can do chain 3 to start with, or a false stitch like I like to do. I have a YouTube video showing you how to do that in detail. Then we need to do 15 treble UK double crochet US. So we're going to have 16 stitches in total. So that's 3, 4, 15, 16. Okay, time to pull that magic circle tight. And join with a slip stitch to our first stitch. Now, as we go, I'm going to be just using one colour throughout, but I'll let you know if you need to do anything different if you are changing colours. But this one, just join with a slip stitch no matter if you're changing colours or not. So there you go, round 1 done. Next round, we're going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the same space as our slip stitch. Then we're going to chain 2 and do a double crochet UK, single crochet US. In the next stitch we do that all the way around. So we're just chaining 2 and a stitch in every stitch. I'll meet you back when I'm finished. Almost finished. It's 15th stitch, chain 2, 16th stitch, chain 2, and we're going to join with a slip stitch to our first double crochet UK, single crochet US. And that's the same whether you're changing colours or not. Okay, so that is round 2 done. Round 3. Okay, so round 3, we're going to be working into every second 2 chain space and ignoring all of the stitches. So the first bit we do is we do a double UK, single US, a half treble UK, half double US, a treble UK, double US, chain 2, and then we work back down in size, stitch size. So treble UK, double US, half treble UK, half double US, and a double UK, single US. Then we chain 1, we skip the stitch, 2 chain space and stitch, and the next 2 chain space we do it all again. So we'll have 8 petals separated by 8 1 chain spaces. I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I've got my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 petals done. Now, if you're changing colours, chain 1 and join with a slip stitch to your first double crochet UK, single crochet US. I'm not changing colours, so I'm going to do join. I'm not going to do a chain. I'm just going to join with a double crochet UK, single crochet US, and that kind of takes the place of that 1 chain space and puts me as if I'm in that 1 chain space. So it's like a pretend 1 chain space. Okay, so the next round, round 4, what we're going to do is we're going to do a slip stitch down into this 2 chain space that we skipped before. So we're sort of doing a slip stitch over that join and in that 2 chain space. Oops. Pull it tight. Now you can do chain 3 starting chain, or a false stitch for a false treble or false double. Then you're going to chain 2, skip 3 stitches and do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in that 2 chain space at the point of the petal. Chain 2, skip 3 stitches. Now we're going to do a half double treble UK or half triple US in that 2 chain space of that round before. So over that 1 chain space and down into that gap below. So yarn over twice, pull up a loop to the front, yarn over through 2, yarn over through all 3. Then we're going to chain 2 again and do a double UK, single US in the point. So we're doing that all the way around. So we've got a half double treble or half triple between the petals and a 2 chain and a double or a single in the 2 chain space. I'll come back around and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, I've done my repeats, I've done 2 chain, and now I just need to join with a slip stitch to the top of my first stitch. It's the same whether you're changing colours or not. So I'm just joining with a slip stitch to my false stitch, and there we go. Alrighty-o, this is a really easy round 5. We do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in the same space as a slip stitch. Then we do 2 of the same stitches in the 2 chain space and a stitch in the next stitch. So all the way around, 2 stitches in each 2 chain space and 1 stitch in each stitch all the way around. I'll come back and show you the end. Okay, so I've gone all the way around, I've done 2 in my last 2 chain space, so now I'm up to joining with a slip stitch to my first stitch, and then we go round 5 done. Round 6 is easy as well, chain 3 starting chain or a false stitch, then we're going to chain 2, skip 1 stitch and do a stitch in the next stitch, a treble UK or a double US. So chain 2, skip 1, stitch. So I'll come back and show you how to finish this one off. Okay, I've almost finished my repeats. I just need to do chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to my first stitch, which is the same whether you're changing colour or not. Okay, so you should have 24 stitches and 24 2 chain spaces. Okay, the next round we're going to square it off, so make sure you have got that stitch count right or it won't work for this round. Okay, so we start off with chain 3 starting chain or a false stitch. Then we're going to, skip that first 2 chain space, and then 4 times we're going to do this little repeat. A double crochet UK, single crochet US in the next stitch, then 2 stitches in the next stitch. So it's 3 stitches in. We're going to do those 3 stitches 4 times. So I've done it once. Oops. Oh goodness me. Twice. 3 times. 4 times. Now we're going to do a stitch in the next stitch. Then we're going to skip this 2 chain space. Then in the next stitch we're going to do a treble UK WS, chain 4, and then a treble UK WS in the same stitch. So that's our corner. And that's our side. So you need to repeat that a couple more times. I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I've done my repeats all the way around. All I need to do now is skip that 2 chain space and do a stitch in the same space as my first one, which is the stitch of the previous round where we join with a slip stitch. Now if you're changing colours here, chain 4 and join with a slip stitch to your first stitch. I'm not changing colours, so I'm going to chain 1 and I'm going to join with a treble UK WS. So I've done a yarn over, I've inserted my stitch, my hook in the stitch, pull a loop to the front, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So what that does, you can see, that's like equivalent to a 4 chain space of other corners. Instead I've got 1 chain and a treble stitch, so that treble stitch takes the place of half the stitches. Alright, so I have a tip for you if you haven't done things my way before. Pop a scrap of yarn in that corner space I know it's a big space and easy to see, but when it gets to smaller in the next rounds, it'll be harder to see. So it's a good habit to get into. So the next round, we're going to do 2 double crochets UK or 2 single crochets US over that joining stitch. So it's simply where that yarn is, we do 2 stitches over that stitch, just like working over a chain. Then we are going to do a double crochet UK, single crochet US in every stitch alongside, which is 15 stitches. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, oops, 12, 13, 14, 15. And our corner in this case is 2 stitches, 2 chain, 2 stitches. So 2, 2, and 2. So a really easy round. I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I've done my repeats, and the last instructions of the round say to do 2 stitches in the same space as our first stitches, which is where that scrap of yarn is. So 1, 2. If you're changing colours here, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. I'm not changing colours, so I'm going to chain 1. I'm going to move that stitch marker up to this round, and I'm going to join to that first stitch with a double crochet UK, single crochet US. So it's the same principle as before, except this time that 1 chain and that 1 small stitch are taking place of a 2 chain corner space. So now we are in the middle of a 2 chain corner space, and we can do the next round, which is starting by doing a stitch over the joining stitch. So where that yarn is, that's the hole. You're joining, putting a stitch over that stitch. Now this round is very easy. We're going to chain 1, skip 1 stitch, and do a stitch in the next stitch. Chain 1, skip 1, stitch, double crochets UK, single crochets US. Our corners are simply 1 stitch, 2 chain, 1 stitch, and the skipping 1 all the way around the sides. I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, so I've done my repeats. I have chained 1. I'm going to skip 1 more stitch and do a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that stitch marker is. And again, if you're changing colours, chain 2, join with a slip stitch. If you're not changing colours, chain 1 and join with a stitch, double crochet UK, single crochet US to that first stitch. Okay, and we've got 1 more round to go, which is very, very easy. Start with a stitch over our joining stitch, and we're going to do 1 stitch in every stitch and every 1 chain space all the way around. The corners are 1 stitch, 2 chain, 1 stitch, double crochets UK, single crochets US. So I'll come back and show you how to finish off. Okay, I've done my repeats, so now I just need to do a stitch in the same space as our first stitch, which is where that little stitch marker is. I can take that out now. And because it's the last round, I am going to chain 2, and I'm going to join with a slip stitch to my first stitch. Oops. Finish off my yarn. You weave in your ends, obviously, and this one does benefit from a bit of a block, especially these little bits here, but it will go nice and straight. Now, I made this one here with Bendigo Wool & Mill's 8-ply cotton, and this one here with Cascade Ultra Pima cotton. This one, the Bendigo one, is slightly bigger, even though they're equivalent yarns. We'll get small differences in sizes. So if you need to adjust this one, if it's too big, leave off the last round. But if you do leave off that last round, make the second last round, instead of a skipping round, a solid round of stitches. So just do a stitch in every stitch all the way along. If you need to make it a bit bigger, then just add another row of stitches. It's easy. So there you go. Solomon from my Siren's Atlas collection. Make sure you head to spincushions.com to check out more crochet fun. Sign up for my newsletters while you're there. Thanks, and I'll see you later.